The topic for discussion is electrolytic reactions, part 2. For example 1, I want to look at the reactions at the electrodes during electrolysis of dilute copper 2 chloride solution using platinum electrodes. Ions in solution of the electrolyte, as could be seen on the tutorial board, are copper 2 ion and chloride ion from copper 2 chloride salt, hydrogen ion and hydroxy ion from water. Ions at the electrode, copper 2 ion and hydrogen ion at the cathode, chloride ion and hydroxy ion at the anode. What happened at the anode? Hydroxy ion is below chloride ion in the electrochemical series and is less electronegative. Hence, hydroxy ion is readily oxidized and is discharged as oxygen gas by losing electron. Half reaction at the anode. As could be seen on the tutorial board, 4 moles of hydroxy ion losing 4 moles of electron to give 2 moles of water plus 1 mole of oxygen gas. What happened at the cathode? During the electrolysis, copper 2 ion is below hydrogen ion in the electrochemical series and is less electropositive. Hence, copper 2 ion is readily reduced and is preferentially deposited as copper element by gaining electron. The half reaction at the cathode, as could be seen on the tutorial board, 1 mole of copper 2 ion gaining 2 moles of electron to give 1 mole of copper element. Since hydroxy ion loses 4 moles of electron at the anode, copper 2 ion must gain back the 4 electrons. Hence, equation 1 on the tutorial board is multiplied by 2 to give us equation 2, in which 2 moles of copper ion plus 4 moles of electron to give 2 moles of copper element. How do we write the overall reaction at the electrode? Overall reaction is the combination of half reaction at the anode and half reaction at the cathode, and the equal number of electrons, that is 4 moles of electron, is cancelled out. Thus, the overall reaction is 4 moles of hydroxy ion plus 2 moles of copper ion to give 2 moles of copper element plus 2 moles of water plus 1 mole of oxygen gas. What are the products of electrolysis of dilute copper 2 chloride solution using platinum electrode? Copper element is deposited at the cathode. Oxygen gas is discharged at the anode. The blue color of the solution fades during the electrolysis because the copper 2 ion that is responsible for the blue color is removed from solution and is being deposited on the cathode. I want to look at example 2. I want to look at the reactions at the electrode during electrolysis of concentrated copper 2 chloride solution using graphite electrodes. What are the ions in solution of the electrolyte? Copper 2 ion and chloride ion from copper 2 chloride salt, hydrogen ion and hydroxy ion from water. The ions at the electrode, as could be seen on the tutorial board. At the cathode, we have copper ion and hydrogen ion. At the anode, we have chloride ion and hydroxy ion. What happened at the anode during the electrolysis? Because of the small difference in electronegativity between the chloride ion and the hydroxy ion, the chloride ion, which is present in high concentration, is readily oxidized and is preferentially discharged as chlorine gas by losing electron. The half reaction at the anode, as could be seen on the tutorial board, 2 moles of chloride ion losing 2 moles of electron to give 1 mole of chlorine gas. What happened at the cathode during the electrolysis? Copper 2 ion is below hydrogen ion in the electrochemical series and is less electropositive. Hence, copper 2 ion is readily reduced and is discharged as copper element by gaining electron. The half reaction at the cathode, 1 mole of copper ion gaining 2 moles of electron to give 1 mole of copper element. How do we write the overall reaction at the electrode? Overall reaction is the combination of half reaction at the anode and half reaction at the cathode, and the equal number of electrons, that is 2 moles of electron, is cancelled out. Thus, the overall reaction is 2 moles of copper, 2 moles of chloride ion plus 1 mole of copper ion to give 1 mole of copper element plus 1 mole of chlorine gas. What are the product of electrolysis of concentrated copper 2 chloride solution using graphite electrode? Copper is deposited at the cathode and chlorine gas is discharged at the anode. The greenish blue color of the solution fades during the electrolysis because the copper ion that is responsible for the blue color is removed from solution and is deposited on the cathode. For example 3, I want to look at the reactions at the electrode. I want to look at the reaction at the electrode for the electrolysis of dilute or concentrated copper 2 tetrahydrosulfate solution using platinum electrodes. The ions in solution. We have copper 2 ion and tetrahydrosulfate ion from copper 2 tetrahydrosulfate salt, hydrogen ion and hydroxy ion from water. Ions at the electrode, as could be seen on the board. At the cathode, we have copper ion and hydrogen ion. At the anode, we have tetrahydrosulfate ion and hydroxy ion. What happened at the anode during the electrolysis? Tetrahydrosulfate ion is highly electronegative and is not readily oxidized. Therefore, hydroxy ion is preferentially discharged as oxygen gas. Whether the solution of the tetrahydrosulfate salt is dilute or concentrated, it is the hydroxy ion that is always discharged. Half reaction at the anode. 4 moles of hydroxy ion losing 4 moles of electron to give 2 moles of water and 1 mole of oxygen gas, as could be seen on the tutorial board. What happened at the cathode during the electrolysis? Copper 2 ion is below hydrogen ion in the electrochemical series and is less electropositive. Hence, copper 2 ion is readily reduced and is deposited as copper element by gaining electron. The half reaction at the cathode, as could be seen on the tutorial board. 1 mole of copper 2 ion gaining 2 moles of electron to give 1 mole of copper element. Since hydroxy ion loses 4 electrons at the anode, copper 2 ion must gain back the 4 electrons. Hence, equation 1 on the tutorial board is multiplied by 2 to give equation 2, in which 2 moles of copper ion plus 4 moles of electron gives 2 moles of copper element. How do we write the overall reaction at the electrode? Overall reaction is the combination of half reaction at the anode and half reaction at the cathode, and the equal number of electrons, that is 4 mole of electron, is cancelled out. Thus, the overall reaction for this electrolysis is 4 moles of hydroxy ion plus 2 moles of copper ion to give 2 moles of copper element plus 2 moles of water plus 1 mole of oxygen gas. What are the products of electrolysis of dilute or concentrated copper 2 tetrahydrosulfate solution using platinum electrodes? We have copper element at the cathode and we have oxygen gas being discharged at the anode. The blue color of the solution fades during the electrolysis because the copper 2 ion that is responsible for the blue color is being removed from solution and is deposited as copper element on the cathode.